Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, rovers. How are you doing today? PHROLOVA has officially become way more powerful than we realize in Wuthering Waves. In this video, we are going to explain what the ending of version 2.5 story means for PHROLOVA and the story of rinascita as a whole. It's actually some pretty creative and insane story writing and piecing together by Kuro Games. And just on the side, I know it's been a long time since I posted, so if you want to know what has happened, then you can check the post in the comments. Don't usually post about my personal life on social media, but I'd like to fill you guys in on some of the details of what's been happening in my life. Enjoy the video. The first thing we need to bring up is the source material for creating PHROLOVA in Wuthering Waves. In line with the theme of Greco-Roman mythology in rinascita, Kuro have name dropped Hecate. Hecate is from the Greco side of Greco-Roman mythology. This is part of PHROLOVA's character creation, which we will call her alter ego. Hecate in mythology is the Greek goddess of witchcraft, magic, the night, ghosts, and necromancy. These are all things we have seen already throughout PHROLOVA's abilities. These themes are pretty broad terms, and it's Kuro's story writing and world building that takes these themes and gives it meaning and depth in their own unique way. PHROLOVA orchestrates and uses a Lycoris, which is a symbol of blooming, life and death, to associate her powers with necromancy, witchcraft and so on. Kuro also gave Hecate the title of Limbo Rondo. Limbo is the first and very specific layer of the underworld, which has a connection to Hecate in mythology. Rondo is a musical term, which means a specific part is reoccurring. The true definition of limbo is a place where infants go after death. This is because they would be classified as uncertain, meaning their soul awaits a final decision of where they should go. And this real-life definition or concept of limbo is what Marvel comics and story writers use for the creation of their characters, and specifically for Marvel it would be the character known as Magic. Magic's powers come from limbo, and that explains why her demons are the size of infants. There is a difference between soul and demon, which we'll cover when we talk about PHROLOVA. In Wuthering Waves, Limbo is referring to the Lost Beyond. This is the sonorosphere that PHROLOVA created to hold the human consciousness of the deceased as she tries to find a way to bring their consciousness back to real life through a vessel. Kuro has not specifically used infants with the terminology of Limbo and the Lost Beyond, although a very young child being Triss has an important connection to PHROLOVA. Hecate in mythology also has a connection to the underworld. In ancient Greek writing, Hecate guided Demeter to find her daughter Persephone, who was abducted into the underworld. Thus, the final notion became that Hecate has a realm of the underworld ruling over the souls of the departed. So again, here we have an outline for PHROLOVA and Hecate, which Kuro gives extra depth by defining Hecate's realm of the underworld as Limbo or the Lost Beyond. Now the final segment of version 2.5 story is not the end of PHROLOVA's impact on the story. This is actually the setup to PHROLOVA reaching her true power. In version 2.5, PHROLOVA guided us throughout the fabrication area in the same way Hecate guided Demeter through the underworld. In search of Fenriku and the gem, the Lost Beyond, or Limbo, started to merge with PHROLOVA. So a part of this underworld sonorosphere started to associate itself with Hecate, and this is the most common notion that is in writing. Again, here is the parallel of real-life literature and Wuthering Waves. By the end of version 2.5, the Lost Beyond and PHROLOVA become one. So all that exists in the Lost Beyond is fully part of PHROLOVA and in her control. This means that PHROLOVA now has an army because she rules over the souls of the departed, which is the very same as Hecate after she helped Demeter. The subconscious that PHROLOVA holds is known as the soul, and when she finds a vessel for that consciousness, they become demons. and in this case the demons are called tacit discords. In writing, Hecate would then send her army of souls from her realm at night to the real world to fetch even more souls and teach sorcery, magic, witchcraft, and necromancy. So basically, they would share PHROLOVA'S methods of trying to merge the deceased human subconscious with a vessel or a tacit discord. So this entire version 2.5 is a setup for PHROLOVA turning from Hecate into something like Hell, the goddess of death. PHROLOVA now ruling over human subconscious or the souls of the dead. But again, Kuro used very light terms to explore this in their story writing. They don't use the word souls, they use subconscious or consciousness, and they don't use demons, they use tacit discords. Now you're probably wondering, how does PHROLOVA and the story of PHROLOVA tie into the bigger picture? Well, that comes down to Ragnarok, and if you haven't seen the Ragnarok video, I would highly recommend it because the flow and the story teaser for Septimont and this version 2.4 saga onwards has the exact same step-by-step flow of the prophecy of Ragnarok. Version 2.4 explored the death of a loved gladiator being Mia. And if we look at the prophecy of Ragnarok, it starts with the death of Balder, a deity who is loved and endured by all. And it's after Balder's death that the gods travel to the underworld, which is ruled by Hel, or Hela if you watch Marvel movies. Hela has an entire army of souls within her realm. In version 2.5, PHROLOVA has become this goddess of death and has an army of souls after guiding Rover throughout the fabrication area. In the prophecy, Hel or Hela says that she will return Balder to the realm of the living if all creatures would weep for him. And alas, all creatures wept except for one, being Loki. And for those who don't know, Loki is the god of mischief, and we see similar personality traits with Christoforo. This brought a terrible Fimbulwinter to the realm of the living, and the sun and moon were affected by it. In version 2.6, we are going to Septimont and we'll be speaking to Augusta, the F4 or the sun. And along with Augusta is Juno, who is the moon. So again, this is the next step of the prophecy of Ragnarok coming alive in version 2.6 in Wuthering Waves. And again, just a reminder that Kuro is not rewriting Ragnarok just with the names of their characters in Wuthering Waves. They seem to be using Ragnarok as a blueprint for the flow of the story. And just to end off, Athens is also one of the main cities where Hecate was worshipped, and much of the design of Septimont takes inspiration from not only Rome but Athens as well. This is where the connection between Augusta and PHROLOVA mentioned in version 2.5 could be built upon. That is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you in the next video.